So yesterday I had a debate with my friend. The question that always came up when a property investor wants to buy an investment property is, should he get an interest-only loan or pay the principal and the interest as well? My friend and I had a fight. We couldn't agree on what to do. He is very confident that it is better to pay interest only. On the other hand, I'm not so sure. Let me give you some arguments against paying interest only, and I will also give you some arguments for paying interest only. Arguments against paying interest only. Number one is that you pay a higher interest rate. At the moment, as of today, investment loan interest rates start from around 2.3%. Now, if you want to pay interest only, your interest rates will start from around 2.5%, so that's 0.2% higher. One thing to remember is that you pay a higher interest rate on the whole mortgage balance. So you don't pay that higher interest rate on the slice of the mortgage that's not needing to be paid. You pay the higher interest rate on the whole mortgage balance. So my argument against my friend is that he will need to pay a higher interest rate, let's call it 2.5% on the whole mortgage balance. So if he has a $1 million mortgage, his interest charges in the first year will add up to 25 grand. If he has a principal and interest loan, his interest charges in the first year will be under 23 grand. That's 2.3% multiplied by the $1 million mortgage balance. For simplicity, we will ignore the reduction in principal each month. If you go to the mortgage repayment calculator on the Money Smart website, you will find that the repayment on a $1 million mortgage at a 2.3% interest rate is $3,848 per month of principal and interest. If he pays interest only, each month he pays $2,083 based on the higher interest rate of 2.5%. So each month he pays $1,765 less. And this equates to around 21 grand for the first year. So he pays $2,000 more in interest charges to have an extra cash flow of $21,000 in the first year. Now for this to make sense to him, in my mind I was thinking he would need to be able to invest the 21 grand and earn a guaranteed rate of return of 9.5% for him to get $2,000 guaranteed every year. He needs to be very sure that he will get more than $2,000 worth of investment income if he has an extra $21,000 of cash flow. I was thinking, no way, that kind of return is not guaranteed 100%. So to me, it sounds like he is better off paying the principal and interest towards his mortgage, pay $2,000 less interest and lose his $21,000 worth of cash flow, because this is a guaranteed savings versus non-guaranteed investment returns. I would normally choose guaranteed versus non-guaranteed if the figures are similar. So that is the first argument against interest only. Second argument against interest only is that yes, you do pay less income tax, but the interest that you pay after the tax deduction is still bigger. A commonly cited reason for paying interest only is that you get to claim more tax deductions. I'm not a big fan of paying more interest to reduce taxes. When you choose an interest-only mortgage, your interest charges become bigger, so you claim a bigger tax deduction in your tax return. But the value of the extra tax deduction is never higher than the amount of additional interest charges, so you still pay more. It's less of more, but it's still more interest charges, even after netting off the tax deduction. So in the example previously mentioned, you claim an extra $2,000 of tax deduction. The extra out-of-pocket expenses will be $1,400 if your marginal tax rate is 30%. It's still money that goes out of your pocket, so I consider this to be something that's against paying interest only. My third argument against paying interest only is that you do take on more risks. So bigger risks often come with bigger rewards, but you're still taking on risks. If you do not pay down your principal, you do not build up equity in the property. You will have extra cash which you may end up investing into risky investments such as the share market, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, or even this one called Pancake Bunny. If those investments do not perform well, you may lose your money and you do not have equity in your property. So at the end, you may be left with nothing. My fourth argument against choosing interest-only loan is that you reduce your borrowing power. It's a bit funny, but if you have a 5-year interest-only loan, the remaining term on your mortgage will be 25 years. So you only have 25 years to pay down the principal. For the same set of income and expenses, the bank will actually give you a smaller maximum loan amount. If you choose an interest-only loan, it could be something like 10% smaller. So the property you buy may need to be around 10% cheaper. This means you have a smaller asset base and less leverage. A smaller asset base and a smaller leverage generally means smaller return on your cash. So those are the 4 arguments against having interest-only loan. Now we will switch to the arguments where we believe that it is beneficial to have interest-only loans. The first one is that you get to keep more of your cash for other investments or for your business if you are self-employed. When I had that debate with my friend, I forgot that the 2,000 or 1,400 after-tax savings I mentioned before only happens one time in the first year. In the second year, he still will not have the $21,000 worth of extra cash flow, but he will not get another $2,000 worth of savings in the interest charges. He does get around $2,000 worth of savings in the second year. However, this should be attributed to the extra $21,000 worth of cash flow he would have to further sacrifice in the second year. The second argument is an expansion of the first argument. You get to keep more of your cash for a few years until you sell your property or ask for a cash out. So this is a fine print of the first argument. So now my friend is saying that as long as he can invest his money and get more than the interest rate from the bank, which is 2.5%, he is better off choosing an interest-only mortgage. I believe this argument is only valid if he never ever sells his property. Let me know if you believe I'm wrong, because I'm having a bit of a trouble visualizing this. But I think if he does sell his property in, let's say, 5 years from now, he would get all his cash back into his pocket. He does not lose his cash flow forever. So if his investment return is only slightly bigger than 2.5%, he would be better off choosing a principal and interest loan. That way he only needs to pay an interest rate of 2.3% on the whole loan balance. Again, not just on the extra cash flow, but on the whole mortgage balance, which is around $1 million. So he will each year save $2,000 in interest charges before tax deduction. Most people either sell their property within 5 years or they refinance and ask for a loan top-up within 5 years. So I think it still makes sense to choose principal and interest mortgage, because you do not lose your cash flow forever. You get it all back when you sell the property or ask for a loan top-up. Now, the third argument for having an interest-only loan is you get better cash flow for your lifestyle. So if you pay only the interest charges every month, your monthly mortgage repayments will be smaller. Chances are the rental income is sufficient to pay for the interest charges and the property holding expenses. This means you do not need to sacrifice your lifestyle. You do not need to dip into your salary in order to pay your investment mortgage. Alright, so what do you think, guys? Would you do an interest-only loan, or would you rather pay principal and interest? I am in 2 minds about it. Each option has benefits and disadvantages. If I really do not want to impact my lifestyle, I would definitely choose interest only. If I feel that I have a lot of salary, I have a lot of ongoing income from my job, then I'm leaning towards paying down the principal as well, because the interest charges are a bit smaller, and to me it just makes sure that I actually set aside some of my salary into, if you like, a savings account, which is my property, because I gradually pay down the principal and build equity in my property. So even though I buy Bitcoin Dogecoin or Pancake Bunny, there is less of those things that I can buy because half of the money goes into my property. That way, when I retire, when I'm old, I will end up with a property that potentially is fully paid off, and it doesn't matter too much if I lose a lot of money from buying Pancake Bunny.